Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode number, checks notes, 95 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And the guy on the other screen or in your other ear, if you are listening to the podcast, hello to all the people who just listen to the podcast. It's Cam Blake in Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan. Thanks for people listening. Do they know what they're missing out on though? Like the visuals that we have on here.
I think the feedback I've got is people who listen, and then if something piques their interest in terms of what they might want, if they might want to see it, then they flick over to the YouTube channel and check it out later.
Right. Okay.
So
that's okay though. That works.
No, we don't mind. However, whatever gets you through the night.
Exactly right. Whatever gets you through the night. Who's that? A George Harrison song, I think.
No, big John Lennon.
John Lennon. Was one of the Beatles. Hey,
you were close.
Gee, you must be a happy chappy today.
I'm always a happy chappy, but why would I in particular be happy chappy today?
It's got something to do with Melbourne.
Something to do with Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah, Melbourne, Australia. Not Melbourne, the football club, because we're not mentioning the footy. But you've got your dictator Dan has
so-called dictator Dan. Let's not talk politics.
All right, okay. It's not a happy day. It's a happy day for some Victorians. It's a sad day for others.
Let's not talk politics and divide our audience is what I meant.
And let's not talk football because that's not good either.
Right?
Maybe we should talk about photography, or maybe we should talk about how many subscribers we have on our YouTubes.
Sure. Hello to all our subscribers. The milestones keep ticking over. 640 subscribers now.
Right.
If you are a subscriber to the channel, thank you. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, it's pretty easy. Just hit that little subscribe button down there. Struggling to speak tonight. Maybe I've got Aurora fever, Cameron.
Maybe just don't forget to hit that subscription button. Maybe you are. You've just rushed in from an Aurora shoot, haven't you?
Well, let's kick off with the background. So this is Tuesday night. This is the 26th of September. We're recording this. I know this is not going out for another few days, but there was quite the Aurora event tonight. The problem was, of course,
your forehead.
Pretty much. It was as bright as my forehead. The moon sort of stopped things. But my background, which is right there, and I will make it full screen because it's a bit tricky to see, so you can see there's a little bit of, would you call those beams, Cameron? I don't know.
Yeah, they are. There's a bit of beamage happening. It looks like where that little purple haze is. That's some of the beams happening. So
we're talking about just there. I'll just put myself back. So that area across there is a bit of purple beamage going on. So that was cool. I managed to scoot down to the beach because my learned friend on the other screen here said, "Hey, there's a big aurora going on. You should get to a beach." So I did.
Yeah. So
and this was literally half an hour ago.
That talk about processing, editing, and displaying. That's pretty quick turnaround.
Slam bam. Thank you, ma'am. It's up and done. It was a bit disappointing because it looks powerful, but the full moon just went nah. Well, I think it's a 3/4 moon at the moment, isn't it?
It's bright. It's washed everything out.
Very bright.
As we're speaking, I've just got a message from one of the show's greatest friends, Jamie.
Hello, Jamie.
He's written here, it's pretty washed out, and I'm not impressed.
Right. So I've actually just noticed. Forget the aurora bit. Look at the nice movement on the water here.
It's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah. There you go. That might have been worth the price of admission alone.
Maybe we should do an episode on auroras one day.
Yeah, we've only done a couple of them. I love Ocean Grove, the beach steps that you get. They make fantastic foregrounds. So I was really happy to get that. So that was cool.
Very cool.
Cameron, you've been traveling all over the countryside like the Leyland brothers.
Great show.
Your background, please.
My background, yes. So I've just come back from the wonderful, mighty Flinders Ranges up in northern South Australia. We did 5 days up there. We had some beautiful weather, a couple of hot days to start with. My God, flies. Holy shit. There was flies everywhere. We had to go buy fly nets for our heads because we just couldn't function. It's out of control. But this is a shot from it's a pretty famous part of the range. This is called the Razorback View or Razorback Lookout. and this goes through the Bunaroo Gorge, I think you pronounce it, and then it pops into the Bratchina Gorge. So these roads all link up through the gorges, but you get a beautiful view over the Wilpena Pound, and yeah, we had a really nice sort of lovely day. It was a hot day. We were in shorts and singlets and t-shirts. It was great. The flies were just starting to bugger off at that stage. So that's a sunset there. So yeah, it was good. We had a good time. Had a great bit of fun. Had a great group.
Awesome.
We didn't lose anyone, so it's always good.
You know how much I know how much you love questions without notice. So here's a question without notice for you. The your background there, that is that like a lookout platform, or is it like just a hill?
Really, you know, when you look at it, see the road down the very end.
Yes,
it's just got that little bit of a high bit on the left hand side of the road. It's just another one of those, really. It just along the way, it sort of snakes along and just pops up, and then it pops down again and snakes up. So it's just a tiny little dirt car park that has you're just standing on one of those mounds looking down the road. It's just a vantage point, really.
It's the light there seems to be quite awesome.
Yeah, you get we just got that glow. And it was funny, we did this shot, and this is the first night we're there. Like, we literally rocked up, checked in, settled in, and headed out and got this straight off the bat. So that was pretty handy. But as I was standing there, I like to let everyone sort of get their groove and see how everyone shoots and where people need help and fill in the gaps and stuff like that. And when we got to here, this is quite a fair time, even though it looks like it's still quite bright. It's after the sun set and you get that afterglow. Yeah, so it was really quite nice. You get all those beautiful soft shadows and stuff. But I asked a question to everyone as we were starting to pack up, which was about 5 minutes after this, 10 minutes after this. I said to everyone, I said, so based on tonight's little session, when would you have packed your gear up and gone home? And all of them said, oh, probably 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So straight away off the bat, they're like, okay, we hang around 20 minutes after sunset, because even though it looks sort of dark, the light is quite soft and you get that beautiful afterglow. So yeah, it's a lovely spot. We'll be going again next year. That concludes our Flinders Ranges trips for the year, but we'll be going again in June, I think we are. So if anyone's keen to come along, feel free to jump on board and have a look. We're at June 24th. We're going next year.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's a good spot. We love it.
It's definitely on my bucket list. I will be out there sooner rather than later, I feel.
Yeah. We could just take a detour from the Murray Mallee.
Yeah, it's just up the way, isn't it? A little bit. We can go and drive for 2 days. The August photo comp, which has been run and won, the People's Choice section is about to close as well. So if you're listening to this or if you are watching this on Friday night when it's gone out, it finishes on the Saturday, the 30th. So you people listening, unfortunately, the cutoff has happened for the People's Choice for August. However, we have another announcement in a second. So you need to head over to the Facebook page and go to the pinned post on the top of our Facebook page, Down South Photo Show Facebook page, and you can vote on the People's Choice. And we had a quick look at the voting just before, and it's pretty close, Cam.
There is about 2 or 3 that are all potential winners. So definitely get on there before the guys are watching this on YouTube on Friday night. Make sure you get on there before the cutoff date. But yeah, it's a close contest. That's good.
Very close. And would you like to let people know what we're going to run for October?
Yes, October, the month of, which is in next week. So that'll be announced on the, what is that? By the time we put that out, it'll be probably like the 7th or something, won't it? It'll be about the 6th is when we'll announce it, which is when we're at BFOP. We might even do a bit more of an announcement at BFOP. But it's going to be on trees. So I want to see pictures of trees. So it can be either a beautiful old gnarly tree, or it can be a beautiful forest, or the photo just has to include trees. That's what I want. And, it could be shooting up into the canopy. It could be, an aerial shot looking down above, or whatever it might be. But let's do trees. We'll give you the whole month of October to put that in. And then once again, what we'll do is we'll pick our top 5 and then try and pick a winner. And then we'll put it out there in November for the People's Choice, leading into Christmas. So yeah,
absolutely.
Trees.
Great. We will remind people of that next week on the episode, and also on the Facebook page. And the prize for the October comp will be a $200 gift voucher from Ocean Grove Camera and Photo. A great sponsor we've got there. It must be a wonderful institution, that Ocean Grove Camera and Photo place.
It must be all right. I went in there the other day, actually.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I tell you,
I've heard nothing but good things.
well, I must admit, I went in there and 50% of the staff were bloody amazing.
Yes.
The other 50% of the staff was a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
Um, but it was okay. Yeah.
Okay.
They're,
All
they're a
right.
good little shop.
Well, it's good
Hey,
to get feedback. I'll pass that on to management.
yeah, pass it on to management. Hey, we need to probably apologize for our little missed episode last week. Well,
Yes, we do.
I probably need to apologize. I was up here in the Flinders Ranges,
Mm,
and by the time we'd had dinner, we were having a 7:30 dinner in Adelaide time, so it's at 8 o'clock here. By the
yes.
time we finished that, it was like 9 o'clock, and by the time we got back to the room, it was going to be too late. So
Yes.
I pulled the pin and said no episode. So my apologies. I saw a
Yeah.
few sad faces on.
Yes.
People weren't too happy.
Look, I think you did tell me you had a slight misadventure as well, a little flat tire or something that day as well, which pushed things back a wee bit.
Yeah, here's a funny story for you. Let's do a quick ad hoc horror story, shall we?
I love it. Photography horror story.
All right. So photography horror story. So one of the things I wanted to see and get the group to see while I was up there this week gone was the Sturt Desert P. I think I mentioned that on the last show. I wanted to see that. And so anyway, as you do when you're up there, you speak to the locals, you speak to the rangers. They said, oh, look, there's a spot that not many people go to, but that's a pretty definite spot for Sturt Desert P this time of year. It was a place called Chalmers Gorge, which is up towards Akarua. And we're like, oh, okay, it's an hour and a bit from here. We'll see how we go. Anyway, we had a little bit of bad luck with the aerial flights that we had in the earlier part of the week because the winds were roaring through there. So they actually cancelled some flights on us. So we actually had some spare time. So we decided that we'd drive up to this place and chase these Sturt Desert Ps, all pretty excited, pretty happy. And we get up to it's this beautiful gorge. Actually, we're probably going to visit it again, but stunning place. And we pulled in and we got out of the car and it was quite funny. The whole group said, oh, where's the toilet? I need a toilet stop. So everyone went and found a tree and did everything they needed to do. And, as I'm standing there, Dan goes, you got a flat tire. I'm like, right, we had a flat tire on the last trip. He goes, yep, back left's flat. I'm like, oh, crap. So anyway, Dan got under there, jacked it up, got the tire down, replaced it all. So we got that all fixed. We're looking around this place everywhere. Not a single Sturt Desert P to be found.
Oh, no.
And we're like, well, that's just crap. So anyway, it was still lovely. We still got some great shots and stuff, but we didn't get what we wanted. So anyway, we drove back and the next morning we went into Hawker to get the tire puncture fixed. So we drove in there. We gave the group an hour off to go check the gallery there and have a look around and buy some souvenirs. Dan and I go to the tire change place, the little mechanical place where we went last time, and the guy's talking to us, and Dan and I are standing there talking to this guy. Oh yeah, we'll get the tire fixed. And out the corner of my eye, this little house next door was about a 2 meter by 3 meter patch of Sturt Desert Peas. growing in this little tiny town next to the mechanics. I'm like, are you shitting me? And then Dan being all 5-star Dan, he's like, but hang on a sec. He goes, if we hadn't gone out to that gorge and got a flat tire, we wouldn't have come to mechanics. We wouldn't have seen the Sturt Desert Piece. So he goes, it was meant to be. That's how it happened. And away we went. So that was a bit of a funny story. It was.
You got what you wanted in a roundabout kind of way.
We got what we wanted, nowhere near where we wanted to get, and right next to a garage. So
and it cost us one recording of the Down South Photo Show.
It cost us a recording of Down South Photo Show, $40 to replace the puncture. It was quite funny, but you know what? It was good. Like we found a new spot, so good. There's a little lesson out of that. You take the highs and lows. We didn't get to do a flight that we wanted to do, but we found a new part of the Flinders Ranges, which is very cool, and we'll get to revisit. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we talk about this a lot, with particularly if you go on photography tours or workshops, even day workshops and things. It's landscape photography, folks. Anything can happen, and you got to be prepared to roll with the punches and move and be agile and flexible with your plans. So, I know we've been preparing for the Mali workshop, and we're already saying amongst ourselves, we're going to put these people where the light's good. Now, that might not necessarily match up with the exact itinerary we've got set, but so be it. We would much rather have some awesome photos than be on schedule, if you know what I mean.
Here's a little bit of advice for people looking to book workshops. I think I mentioned this once before, is I think the best way to approach a workshop if you're going with someone, where they're going, like Flinders Ranges, Murray Mallee, wherever you might be going, you'll do your own little bit of research of where you want to go. But to me, my advice is don't ask for a day-to-day itinerary of where you're going. Just make sure you know where you've got to be at what time to start the trip and when you get back and where you'll be dropped off at the end of the trip. Because as soon as you ask for an itinerary, it puts an expectation on everything to be that we're going to be here, we're going to be there, and all that kind of stuff. And 9 times out of 10, you're never anywhere near where the itinerary says, because like you said, the weather changes, the light changes, the group dynamics might be different where you can't go to a certain spot that you thought you could go for whatever reason. So don't be too hell bent on getting an itinerary for every day that you're going to be away. You know where you're going. Just trust in the person that you're paying to take you there is my advice.
Absolutely. Love it. Good advice. Yeah. Sound advice on the Down South Photo Show. Last piece of housekeeping, dsps.com.au, your one-stop shop for everything Down South Photo Show. Pop on over to dsps.com.au.
I think I'm going to sneeze. That's amazing.
Go on, do it.
No, I can't. No, I reckon I've had grass up my nose since I've been, I probably shouldn't be rolling in the grass, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing a sneeze on our show.
You're not supposed to shove it up your nose. You're supposed to smoke it.
No, I don't. Brendan, we wouldn't authorize that kind of behavior.
Not on this channel.
No, not on this channel. Anyway, what are we talking about tonight?
Well, we've got sort of 3 topics to go through. So a couple of weeks ago, your very good self put it out on our Facebook page. We were interested to see if there was topics out there that we hadn't covered before on the Down South Photo Show that people might have wanted us to talk about. And lo and behold, did they come thick and fast? So,
AKA, we'd run out of topics. We needed to find a way.
We've got basically. Well, there was a plethora of different topics. Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to spend about 10 minutes on 3 different topics tonight. So, wow. 10 minutes loose. It's like the workshop itinerary. Like, it'll fit together how it fits together.
One question we won't be talking about on the show is when is Ash Hughes hosting again?
Yeah,
we all miss him. That was posted by Ash Hughes.
Yeah,
and no one knows where he is. So
yeah,
bad luck, Ash.
Ash, if you're listening, is your nickname ever been like the Sneeze or Gesundheit or something?
Does he sneeze on his videos a lot? Does he?
No, his name sounds like a sneeze.
Ash, that's terrible. Come on, what's the first topic? Ash Hughes. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
We I still don't think we're going to get to 100 episodes. we're so close.
No, we will. So topic number 1, and this was asked by someone. Sorry, I didn't write names down, but this was definitely asked by someone on the chat on the Facebook page. Kit lenses versus pro lenses, pro in inverted commas, worth it? ? So basically, what this question is asking is, when you buy a SLR or a mirrorless camera these days, and might be your first crack at it, generally speaking, you will get a lens with it because, well, let's face it, you can't use a camera without a lens. So when we talk about kit lenses, these are literally the lenses that are in the box that come with the camera.
Yeah.
Now, 9 times out of 10, when you buy a camera with a lens attached to it, it's a kit lens, and the kit lens is maybe made from plastic. The build quality might be a little lower. It's made to a price point. It's obviously made, just to get you up and running.
Yeah.
So the question from Andrew Connor, thanks for adding that in, Cameron, are these kit lenses worth hanging on to, or do we need to upgrade to pro lenses? Cam, what's your hot take on this topic?
Look, I don't know. Like we always said when we worked at camera shops that you invest in the glass. So you buy your camera body and then you put money into your lenses, and that's what a lot of people do, because you'll ask people about changing brands, like, oh no, I've spent way too much money on lenses, I can't. But then having said that though, kit lenses, again, I think this is one of these ones where people fall in the trap of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Pro lenses, yes, they're generally a better build quality. They're generally got better coatings on the glass, probably better optics to start with. They're generally like a metal body barrel. They're probably a bit more weatherproof. There's a lot of advantages to the pro lenses, but boy, you pay for it as well. You'll pay through the nose for the pro lenses. Whereas the kit lenses, I think, depending on what sort of photography you're doing and what kind of level you're at photography, I don't think they're bad. I think they're quite reasonable and acceptable for what most people are going to do. Majority of people don't print big. the majority of people just chuck things online. So, it's not really a sharpness question for me. Probably the one thing I would say the difference between pro lenses and the kit lenses is most of the pro lenses have a constant aperture, like generally a wider or faster aperture. I reckon that's an advantage, definitely. And I think also the weatherproofing. Most kit lenses don't have any weatherproofing, and they have slow apertures. So I think if I was looking at a pro versus kit lens, those are probably the only two things I'd look at is the speed of the lens and the weatherproofing of the lens, because sharpness is great and all that kind of jazz, but really we don't really do enough printing or anything worthy of sort of spotting out the sharpness issues, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, not much more to add from my end there. I think emphasize the points that you make. I'd like to emphasize the points that you make in terms of image sharpness and overall image quality. And you're completely right. These camera manufacturers don't want to sell you a kit lens that makes their camera look terrible. They want to sell you a lens that is going to, at least when you go out to take photos, even as a pure beginner and on automatic mode, you still want to get nice photos.
Well,
so
that's
they
right.
do definitely serve a purpose. Back when SLR started to really take off, so early 2000s, when digital SLR started to really take off, companies like Canon and Nikon were actually boxing up some pretty nice glass with those cameras. But that was mainly because back then, 4 megapixel SLRs they were, they actually weren't much chop in terms of resolution. So they had to have really good quality glass to sort of compensate for that. And then once the technology took off and the megapixel race got, there was more and more megapixels, so the image quality overall got better and better. They quickly worked out that they don't necessarily need that high quality glass.
No.
And to stay price competitive, they made cheaper lenses, which is exactly what particularly Canon and Nikon did back in the day. So, I think the lenses that you buy with a camera are completely fine to get you up and running.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, particularly landscape, we are a landscape show after all, you're not really going to need to shoot at low apertures that much. There are obviously specific times when you're going to want to, like working in really low light, shooting auroras, for example, and astro and that sort of thing. And I get that.
Yep.
But the old adage of F8 and show up really sort of rings true with a lot of landscape stuff. And, quite often you're shooting at F11 and higher. So, so that's why you don't necessarily need those low aperture values in the pro lenses.
No, I agree. There was a second part to Andrew Connor's question there as well. It was along the theme of my new lens that I bought, that 150 to 400. And he says, is it worth 10 times more than a standard lens?
Very good question.
It's a great question. I'm going to say absolutely not. I don't think any lens is worth the amount of money that we pay for them. Does it improve my photography? I think that lens has impressed me. The autofocus is very quick. The quality is really quick as well. But it's not worth the money you spend for it. So I would say no, some of the pro lenses aren't worth the money they ask for them, but they are generally better, sharper lenses, which is great. But as we've just touched on, I don't think that's a huge issue unless you're doing big printing or anything special with your images. If you're just going to put them on a hard drive and whack them online, then the kit lenses are fine. You can save yourself a bit more money. And then, like I said, if you do go down the avenue of wanting a constant aperture, you might do landscapes, but then want to take up weddings. So you want that nice sort of 2.8 lens, or you might do astro and all that kind of stuff. Then, you might sort of venture out to get the pro lens. But I would say 80% of people getting into photography, a kit lens would be more than enough.
Definitely. One thing, and I'm yet to use that awesome 150 to 400. I dare say I'll get a crack at it at some point. Speed of autofocus.
Yes.
Particularly the bird stuff that you showed me from the Flinders Ranges. I think that's where is it worth 10 times? No, of course it's not, but might be worth 2 times, but not the ridiculous price tags that they end up on.
No. Like I can put up a photo here if you like.
Yes, please.
Which was pretty impressive for this lens.
All right.
This lens, I had the AF tracking on, and I had the lens all set up image stabilizer, the whole lot. And we had this eagle fighting with a crow that was flying towards me at whatever speed an eagle flies. It's got a rabbit in its claws. And that camera was amazingly quick. So that lens was amazingly quick at tracking that and capturing that shot as it went through. So, you know, if I had let's say the 100 to 400 lens that you had in the OM system, could it have done that? I think it could have, but I don't think it could have been as quick and accurate as what that lens did the other day. So that was the point when I had that lens in my hand. I went, right, I think I can see. I don't think I can justify, but I think I can see why that lens is worth a lot more than everything else, because it is razor sharp and razor fast, or laser fast, I should say. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That was one of those moments I went, oh, right. It's still not worth the money I paid for it, I don't think, but it's just done something that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So I'll give it some sort of benefit of the doubt, so to speak.
Not to mention the awesome bokeh that you had in that background photo as well.
Yeah.
So to answer that question in a nutshell, are pro lenses worth it? Well, compared to kit lenses, not really.
I would say in minimal scenarios they are, but I don't think those scenarios would outweigh the money that you pay for them.
If you're a professional photographer, well, things change a bit, because you need reliable gear as a professional photographer. And that's where, as Cam mentioned, that's where the weather sealing and the build quality and all that sort of stuff comes into it for sure, and the low aperture values. But as even a serious enthusiast, you can easily get away with kit lenses. Case in point, did the complete overland track with a what was that thing? The 40 to 150 plastic fantastic that's worth $300.
Does the job,
and it did the job. It more than did the job. I was quite happy with the images I got out of that.
Yeah.
So the next question that we received was from Susan Northover. Hello, Susan. Thanks for tuning in. We want to talk about teleconverters. What are they? Oh, Cameron clearly has a hot take on teleconverters. Teleconverters, what are they, and should I use one, Cameron?
Oh, I thought you might have answered this one. That's a go.
Well, I can if you want. You booed it, so you
okay. What is a teleconverter?
I'll get the next one.
Okay, you get the last one. What is a teleconverter? It's a little bit of equipment that goes in between your camera body and your camera lens. It works like a magnifier pretty much. So you can get them in like 1.4 times magnification or 2 times magnification. So all it does is just apply that factor to your focal length with magnification. It's got glass in it. It's like a little magnifying glass that sits on the back that emphasizes that focal length for you. But what that does do, it puts more glass in front of your sensor. So it'll reduce the quality of light coming through, because it's got to pass through more elements of glass. So I think what are they? That's what they are. Should you have one? We had this discussion on the trip. Tanina, who's a customer of mine, she has the Olympus 40 to 150 2.8, and she was running a 2 times teleconverter on that, and she wasn't happy with the sharpness. So she zoomed in and had a look, and it's like, oh, it just looks soft. And I said that 2 times converter has never had a great reputation. It's actually not great for the increasing the sharpness or anything. You'll get closer, but it's not great. And the 1.4 is good, but the 1.4, along with the magnification, you also lose a stop of light or 2 stops of light, depending which one you're using. So it slows the amount of light that can come through. So I don't think, like, they're not expensive, let's be honest. So you can probably get one in your kit. But if you're doing, and this is the same conversation I had with this guest, is that if she needs to make a decision on whether or not she's doing bird and wildlife photography like a lot, or whether or not she's just going, oh, there's a bird, I'd like to get closer, snap. If she's going to be a bird that's closer, let's have a snap, then the converters are fine. They're a good option. But if she's going to really go down the path of being a wildlife or bird photographer, then I would say don't buy the converter, go and spend your money, or save your money and buy a more decent focal length for what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Case in point, so years ago, back when I wish I knew then what I know now, I think it was like early 2000s, I did a trip to Africa, my first time over there, and being a very keen photographer, shooting mostly film back then. What was it, 2003? I was still shooting a fair amount of film. Got all excited about a teleconverter. I had a 300mm lens, and then took a 2 times teleconverter for it. and then just realized that it just robbed me of so much light.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing that people either maybe don't realize or don't get told or whatever, is that they buy these converters. They go, oh, cool, 300 mil. I've now got 600 mil. Excellent.
Yes.
But they lose those stops of light, which is crucial, as you know.
Yeah.
Especially in those afternoon, early morning photo shoots.
Well, that's exactly in Africa when you go out and you shoot the wildlife is first and last light. So I was tearing my hair out. Didn't have enough zoom, and then put the teleconverter on and then didn't have any light. So, I did manage to get some okay shots, but they were the ones in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
When, particularly the big game shots where they're all asleep. So, and they were fine. Like I got a couple of okay shots, but yeah, I'd never go down the path of a teleconverter. I would actually, and this is going to sound a bit counterintuitive, but I would actually, and have done recently, used just a built-in the digital teleconverter that most cameras have now.
Yes.
Yes, it crops the sensor. We all know that it halves the megapixels and all that sort of stuff. But I've managed to use that at a pinch, but still maintain all the light that I want. So they're a much better way to go, I think, these days than the actual glass that you put between the lens. Now, having said that, maybe a 1.4 times teleconverter would be okay. Particularly if you're shooting in handy, like sort of decent light. Yeah, that would be okay, but I'd probably limit it to that.
Yeah, I think the 2 times teleconverters to me just cause too much loss of light and sharpness. So, and I haven't come across the 2 times teleconverter in my travels that I'd recommend. And I've seen the Canons and I've seen them all, and they all have a similar sort of feel to them. They just they're a bit softer, and the light, obviously, you can't do much about the light coming through, but yeah, look, like they're good to have in your kit. Again, it's one of those things. It's like the 10-stop filter. Everyone says, oh, you should have a 10-stop filter. Yeah, maybe, but let's use it sparingly. It's the same with the teleconverter. It's great to have one in your kit, but you don't have to use it all the time. Use it sparingly when you come across a scene where you're like, oh, that'd be cool just to get a little bit closer in on that animal or whatever it might be. So
that is a fantastic point that you've just made there. You can have all the gear in the world, but it doesn't mean you have to use it all the time.
No, that's right.
There's a lot to be said for very simple setups. At the moment on my OM5, I've had this lens for 10 years. It's the Panasonic 20mm f1.7.
Yeah.
I really enjoy just plugging that onto the front of the camera. It just strips it all back to bare bones. There's no zoom. It's a low aperture lens. It's lightweight. It's a street shooter. It's really cool, but it sort of harkens me back to the basics of better photography and using my skill over the equipment.
Yeah. 100%. And we talk about that all the time. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with NISI filters, NISI filters, because they went through a stage where they just came out and gave every influencer a 10-stop filter and said, just use it until the cows come home. And every photo was just that long exposure. Everything was nice and sweepy and blurry. I'm like, that's great. It looks good, but let's not just use it all the time. And it's the same with the teleconverter. Like, that's right. Some people keep their teleconverter on all the time when they don't really need it, but they think, oh, I'll get closer, I'll get a better shot. When really they could probably take 10 steps closer to a subject and get the same sort of thing. So yeah, use them sparingly along with all the other things that happen. That's my advice. Yeah.
The last topic that we're going to do a bit of rapid fire on, we got asked this one. I like this one. Why do photographers put silly signatures on their photos? Was that J Dar? Is that right? Did I get that right?
J Dar, yes.
J Dar.
Okay. Not a radar, Jada.
No, well, I'll let me field this one.
I'm interested. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. You go with this one.
Look, the amount of times I've seen people put signatures on their photos that are just way too big, and really don't look great, or a massive copyright logo with this really poorly chosen
font.
Font. Look, if you want to put a signature on a photo, knock yourself out. But let's keep it subtle, folks. The problem is it detracts from the photo itself. I've seen some of them are just awful. Cam, not to piss in your pocket, but you've got a nice subtle signature that you put on your photos.
Yep.
It doesn't detract. You put it there so you know that it's yours if it gets shared around, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I mean, if I wanted to remove that, I'm going to remove it.
2 seconds. That's right. Yeah.
There's this incredible thing called remove in Photoshop that just makes it go away.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I used to know a guy that could do that for me. But yeah, it's one of those things where you get this fantastic photo and then you just go, all I'm looking at is that big scribble that you put across it.
This one's a funny one, and there's a type of person that does this. I find. I'll be very careful how I phrase this, but like I see them all the time. It's just like, for the love of Christ, take that stupid watermark off your image. And I'm going to sound like a real prick here, and that's fine. I don't mean to be, but I will sound like one. But if you're putting, generally, this is my experience, if you're putting a giant watermark on your photo, it's generally the photos that aren't that good that you see online that have the giant watermark on the top of them. So I don't know if they work in hand, but there seems to be a collection of photographers out there that think that their images are going to be stolen and put on TV and billboards and websites and all that kind of stuff, when really the image itself isn't that great as an image. So it only, like you said, it only makes that image look worse than what it is. What I find is that the subtle signatures that people put on there, and you're exactly right, they don't take away from the photo. And it doesn't sort of overpower the photo when the first thing you see is this giant watermark. So I think people put them on there. They think that's going to be a way for people to stop stealing their images or ripping their images off. Like you said, it's pretty easy to remove some of the smaller ones. Yes, a bigger copyright thing on your picture is going to be harder to take off, but it's also ruining the photo that people are trying to enjoy. So
completely,
it's really weird. So I think that people, and I've had this, it happens a bit down here in Tassie. You see a few people put these giant watermarks on there, and the other thing they love putting up there is not for media use without permission. And I look at the photo sometimes, I'm like, that's not even going to make the middle of the paper. That's not going on a TV, or it's not going anywhere else. Like it's not a great looking composition. It's poorly edited.
Yeah.
If you
I think there's a bit of a myth out there that people think they have to put the copyright symbol on their photo. No, you don't. No, you don't at all.
It's already it's embedded in the metadata,
in the EXIF data. So
that's right.
If you set your camera up properly when you buy it, your copyright Brendan Waite's photography will be in your metadata. So don't stress people. If someone rips off one of your photos, you still have a leg to stand on, even though you haven't put copyright blah 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 on a big ass watermark that's ruining the photo in the first place.
And you know what else you do? If you do big ass watermarks on your thing, it might be a great photo, but I can guarantee you that whoever's looking at it, like a magazine or a media outlet or whatever, they look at that and go, great photo. Nah, not using that. It's got a stupid big watermark on it. It's almost, to me, that's almost alarm bells that this photographer is going to be hard work.
Difficult to deal with.
Difficult to deal with. So, keep that in mind. If you're looking to sell your work and you're looking to be recognized for your landscape photography work, maybe look at other options apart from stamping a big giant signature on your or a watermark or whatever it is on your photo. Maybe look at another option to copyright your images. Like Brendan said, it's in the exit data. You can easily, it's quite easy to find an image these days that people have been using. But if you stamp a big watermark on your photo, to me as a professional, it takes away from the photo that I'm meant to be looking at, and it rings alarm bells that this person is over hyped up sensitive about their images being stolen. And that's just a bit of a red flag for me. So feel free to put all your hate comments in below about me paying out on people. But I don't know. I think it detracts.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. So
very good. Well, that was 3 quick fire topics that we just
it's pretty good.
Knocked out of the park. If you would like to comment on anything we've spoken about tonight, or if you would like to suggest for us something you would like for us to talk about, leave that in the comment below.
And just to clarify, we're not running out of topics.
No,
we can talk to the cows come home, but we thought we'd mix it up.
No, we're actually wanting to hone our topics into things that people actually want to hear us talk about. So
that's right.
That's why we put it out there for any questions that people might have or topics that people want us to talk about. We're going to very, very briefly do a quick bit of gear talk. The Nikon ZF looks pretty cool, Cam.
Well, last week I haven't for some, when you say something one week and then the next couple of weeks you can't stop seeing it.
Yes.
The camera conspiracies guy. Every time I open up my YouTube now, he's on there doing a
He's
review.
there.
And
Yeah.
and I saw this Nikon ZF come out the other day, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I'm actually considering maybe even buying one. I reckon they look really cool. I used
Yep.
to love the FM. I had an FM2 and FE2s and FM3s and stuff. It looks like old school. I'd probably just buy like it's 50 mil, put it on the front. So it does look really cool. So they're bringing out these retro cameras that look like they're old school, you know, FM cameras back in the day. It's got the old school dials on top and all that kind of stuff. So I actually like them, but I didn't do any research on what cinema or whatever. But if you want to have a bit of a laugh, go look at that camera conspiracy guy and his review on the Nikon ZF. Apparently it's got exactly the same insides as a camera that's from 2018. So it's very old, and it's got a flip out screen and stuff like that. But I like it. I reckon Nikon have done a good job with it. I reckon it's really cool.
It does look cool. I've just brought an image up on the screen. Dude, it looks a lot like my OM5.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It
exactly
really
right.
does.
Yeah.
That's quite actually alarming how much it looks like my OM5. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
But I tell you what, just a bit more on that as well. I really do hope that these camera brands follow suit. Like Fuji bring out their cameras that look retro. Nikon have brought out this one that looks retro. Olympus cameras look somewhat retro. I would love to see the classics come out, like the Canon AE1. Let's make a digital version of that. The OM1 Olympus, let's make it like a proper looking one like that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool as.
Yeah. Olympus put out the Pen F.
Yeah, the pens
about
fantastic.
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I kind of regret not getting that camera. Actually.
I had one and sold it, and I regretted it.
Yeah, they're a cool looking camera. They're built like a tank, a lot of stainless steel in them, that sort of stuff.
Here's a question without notice: silver or black?
Oh, silver.
I went black.
No, silver all day. That camera looked awesome in the silver.
Yeah.
Just quickly, Nikon ZF, a couple of key specs for you. 24 megapixel full frame. So it's good to see that Nikon are doing this kind of camera, retro looking camera with full frame.
Yeah.
It's sort of like finally 20 years later, we've got to what they promised. And that is take the film out, replace it with a digital sensor, job done.
Yeah. And I'm mind blown that it has taken this long for the camera companies not to figure that out. And you know why they're doing this, Brendan? Because the megapixel race is over.
Correct.
Because
they need another point of difference now.
They need another point of difference, and that's going retro.
Yep, and I'm happy with it. In-body image stabilization rated up to 8 exposure values, dedicated monochrome mode. Hello, Leica. Up to 14 frames per second, continuous shooting. Fine. What else have we got here? 4K 60 frames per second video, which is pretty cool. Cool little piece. SD and micro SD card slots.
Yes,
that's interesting.
That's something that Nikon need to get off the crack pipe on. Is
CF Express.
They whatever they're smoking at Nikon about memory cards, like they seem to put something whack in every single different one they do.
Now here's the kicker, if you like.
Right. Yeah.
I got a price here of $2,000 US.
I've got a price in front of me at 3,489 Australian.
That's too much. I'll say it. That is too much for that camera. That is way. That's twice what it should be.
Yeah, but that's like it's a 24 megapixel camera. It's not blowing doors off with megapixels.
No,
but they're again, this is the point of difference because they're going to bring these cameras out that have the retro feel to them. And that's gonna be. But mind you, you can buy a Nikon Z 40mm f2 lens for $550. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it. Like I said, I hang a fair bit of shit on Nikon, but I like this one.
Oh, we tongue in cheek.
No, not at all. I don't like them.
You don't like them.
I don't like them. Wait till I get to BFOP and see Julie from Nikon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give her a spray. About something. I give her a spray every year about Nikon.
We won't talk about the other gear stuff. We can hang that over to next week.
Well, that's easy. iPhone 15, yawn, and the Panasonic G9 Mark II apparently is also shit.
Right. I think we mentioned the iPhone 15 2 weeks ago.
Do we? Have we not updated our notes?
No, that's fine. I had a bit of a deep dive into the camera on it. It's not a huge leap forward, and they don't seem to be now. It's almost like they're running out of ideas.
Well, this is the thing, though. I think
Yeah.
we are getting to the end of the tether. Like with anything digital camera ish,
Yeah.
like Fuji just brought out a Nikon GFX 100 II, which makes no sense because they've already got a GFX 100S.
Oh,
It's
right.
got
Yes.
it makes no sense what they're bringing out. So
Yeah.
I think we're sort of getting to the end unless technology gets better and they can squeeze more megapixels
I
in.
don't know. We're either getting to the end of what we've got now, or there's about to be something that's going to come along.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. It's, if you look at it, like image stabilizer, brilliant on
Yep.
just about all camera brands now have a fantastic image stabilization system.
Yeah.
The megapixel race, like we mentioned, already over. Maybe some advancements in glass. And can I ask a question?
Without notice, of course.
Apple, why do you still have the freaking halo effect on your cameras? You point your camera towards a bright light source and you get lens flare. Why? It's 2023 already.
Because they're not a real camera.
I just don't. That it should be that easy to remove with software.
I think we've figured this out, Brendan, that the people working at some camera places maybe not as knowledgeable as us. We should start our own brand.
The technology in this thing could put you on Mars, and yet they can't get rid of lens flare. The mind boggles.
It does.
Anyway, that's beer donations. That's a fun topic to segue into. We like our beer donators. Cam's enjoying a Bogues as we speak.
I haven't seen you drink one online forever.
Pretty
much these people are turning me into an alcoholic because I've got to keep drinking the beer they're buying us and you're not touching any of it.
That's right. No, I'll get into my share at BFOP.
Beer donations. Yes, we have Sharon T, Jenny C, and some other guy, Mel H. I think he's
Mel.
new.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the channel, Mel. Nice.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. That's lovely of you to donate a beer. He's doing well.
You on board.
I have a feeling we might be donated some more beer next week.
Yes.
In person, maybe.
Oh, yes, I like the sound of that.
Hey, quick one for you on the BFOP groupies page. Someone put up there today. Does anyone like playing golf Friday morning before it starts? I'm like, oh,
I know someone who might.
Seems I got it rejected the other day. Anyway, moving on.
Will that be at the Bright Country Club?
It would be at the Bright. I used to be a member there once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, okay. Well, yes, we will talk. How many spots are available?
Don't know. They just put open.
Oh, I'm taking the van, so the clubs always find their way in there. Why are we having a private conversation? We still on air.
Oh, do you want to play golf Friday? BFOP before BFOP?
Why not?
All right, let's do it. All right, yeah. Anyone wants to come and play golf at the Bright Golf Club? We'll be teeing off at stupid o'clock probably. Anyway, this is not a golf show, politics or AFL. But anyway,
no, that's right. So Cam, you're having just a short bit of downtime before you get back on the boat.
Even my daughter today at dinner, she goes, "Dad, why'd you even bother coming back?"
And kid's got a point.
Kid's got a point. She goes, "Because we're all going up next week anyway on the boat. You may as well stay at Nenny and Pars." I'm like, I wanted to see you guys and hang out with the wife and kids.
Right answer.
Apparently that wasn't a thought in her process, but
right.
Anyway,
fair enough.
So I'm here for a week, and then we go back up to Melbourne on the boat.
Yes, October is a big month for yourself and myself. We've got a lot going on in October, which is great. Looking forward to it all. Real quick plug for the Great Ocean Road workshop that we have running in May 2024. Places are selling now. Jump on dsps.com.au to check it out and book your spot. This is going to be a cracker.
We've got to get through the Murray Mallee first.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but no, the
maybe people are waiting to see if we survive that and then go. They're
waiting for the wheels to fall off that workshop before they book this one. But
they're waiting for the reviews.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. The Great Ocean Road's going to be good. Murray Mallee, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, we had a chat yesterday about that in person when I came into your shop. Hey, question without notice.
Like it.
Who ate all the peanut M&Ms? You or Abby?
Let's say there's 100 in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon I got about 15 of them.
Oh, all right. Okay. So the
There you
apple
go.
doesn't fall far.
Not at all. Yeah. The
All
only
right.
thing is the apple doesn't have to watch its waistline.
Not yet. Give it another 50 years. She'll have to.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly right.
anyway,
All right, cool. So that's been episode 95. Cam, are you all done?
95, man. Look at
I
that.
know
We're
we are getting up there.
96, 97. Yeah, we're
Mhm.
gonna make it, I think.
Yeah, well, we might just fall over the line. We'll
If we're
see.
lucky.
Yes, that's been episode 95 of the Down South Photo Show. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you for episode 96 next week. Bye for now.
I'm gonna say the Pies by 4 goals.
Oh, okay. You heard it
Ciao.
here first. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.